Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are in Palm Springs today at the California State Association of Counties Convention. We are joined by Bruce McPherson. He is a supervisor in Santa Cruz County. He spent several years working as an elected official in Sacramento, both as a state assemblyman, state senator, and secretary of state. So you know from what you speak when we look at state government,
yes,
and the interplay between state and county government. So let's talk about state government in the context of mandates, unfunded mandates in transportation.
Right.
As we know, the state is in special session right now on transportation. I'm ready to fall asleep. They've been in special session for a year and a half.
Right.
But Santa Cruz is one county that passed its own transportation tax. Explain the interplay.
That's right. Well, to begin with, in the transportation issue, the special session looks like it's not going to happen.
Right.
This in 2016, but the governor and some of the legislative leaders have said we're going to address this in the first quarter of 2017.
They said that last year.
I know, and so, but it's there, and the governor's engaged more, it seems, than he has been previously. So that's the good news, and so I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be interesting in the political framing of it. The Democrats gained more seats in the Assembly. They have a 2/3 majority there.
And the Senate now,
and the Senate too. And it's the so-called moderate Democrats, or mod Dems, that it's going to be a lot of pressure on them. Do they want to, would they go ahead and pass something like an increased tax for transportation purposes with the constituency they have,
well, let's
or not?
talk about
I'm not
that,
sure.
because look, who likes taxes?
Right.
Nobody. No one likes taxes.
Right.
Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter.
Right.
But we do know that the gas tax has not increased since the 1990s.
That's correct.
We know it's worth less because of inflation, because of a decrease in gas prices, because of electric vehicles, because of hybrids. It's just the money we get isn't what it used to be. We also know that counties have an opportunity to pass a sales tax for transportation on themselves. This cycle, 14 counties considered it. 6 said yes, 8 said no.
And
yours was one of them.
We're one of the yeses.
Yes, so, you know, if you're a mod Dem and you're looking at that.
Yeah, but it's in the sense that it's kind of a user tax, and it's a framework with the DMV, how they would charge maybe the electrical vehicles a flat fee per year, because they do use the roads, but they don't buy the gas. So it's a multifaceted proposal.
I'm wondering if someone like you could provide some cover for mod Dems or mod Reaps, for that matter. You have been a leader in the Republican Party, but always known as a moderate. I think you may now be registered independent, I'm not even sure.
I am now.
So, you know, I mean, maybe you're someone that could, you know, be a broker here, because look, could the Democrats get 2/3 and ram it through? I guess, but wouldn't it be nice to get some bipartisan support?
It would be, and we've heard that here at the CSAC convention throughout the week. And it's going to take somebody from the middle. It doesn't mean you've given up your values of what you ran on. It's just that this is what we think is important for the services to the people we serve.
And one could argue that for electric vehicles, they are currently paying no gas tax.
Correct.
And so is that really fair? They're using the roads just as much. Look, I own a hybrid. I still pay some gas, but not as much as my wife's car, for example, which is not a hybrid. I don't know.
So I think that it's part of the Senator Bell and Assemblyman Frazier's proposal.
But they're
that
Dems, no?
Yes, they are. But they're pushing it, and it might be that some Republicans, I don't know. I haven't talked.
You're not there. Lucky you.
But I've been engaged in talking with them about some of these issues in my tenure of my 4 years as county supervisor and having me just be reelected. I plan to go back and push that envelope if I can, to say, listen, this is a user type fee. It's something that's desperately needed, and really the state has fallen back on its obligations over the last 4 years. For instance, we've received $5 million less in transportation fees over the last 4 years than we had gotten previously.
And presumably it's only going to get worse as the dollar, with just basic inflation and gas prices and electric vehicles and hybrids, you can't spread it that much.
Right, and the measurement of what conditions your roads are in Santa Cruz County, there's 58 counties, we're 51st, and that's at the bottom. We're not talking about, you know, at the top cap of that. So we are in dire straits, and we have just passed a half-cent sales tax, 30-year sales tax, but we included everything. We public transit, cyclists, pedestrian uses, highway.
But that presumably should help Santa Cruz, because you can leverage that money both with Sacramento and DC, no?
Yes, right. If you're what they call a self-help county, you've taxed yourself, so they say, okay, then we'll help you out. That was a key component of our campaign that we just ran, of which I was co-chair.
Now, let me ask you, as we said, 6 of 14 counties said yes, which means 8 of 14 said no. Look, I know Santa Cruz is more left of center than right of center, but still, why did it work in Santa Cruz?
Because we covered the whole gamut. We beginning with the highest percentage going to local roads. We covered public transit and community for our metro system, our public transit system, and our community bridges that serves the disabled and the elderly primarily. So we said, and it's really not necessarily a win-win situation. I mean, you can't have those that there's going to be 20 to 25% that say, I don't care what tax it is, I'm not going for it.
Right.
So you only have a margin.
Right, because you need 2/3.
8 or 10 points. So they can say, well, I don't like this one of the 5, so I'm not voting for it. But on the other hand, they can say, well, there's something in it for me or what I'm interested in. And overall, well, we had business and labor. We had environmental groups. We behind us. We worked this. It was a 2-year process to do it. So it takes a lot of work.
One could argue that counties are facing another unfunded mandate in Prop 64. One could argue it is the legalization of marijuana for recreational uses. With legalization will come more expenses that you're going to have to cover for law enforcement, for regulation, for a whole myriad of things. Where's Santa Cruz on Prop 64?
Well, Santa Cruz County supported it
sure,
big
of
time,
course.
and as it was expected.
Right.
We have been working at this for 2 years plus, and we had some proposals of our own, and then there was a referendum movement to say, no, we don't like what you said, so we gave it back, as government does, to a committee of the growers and dispensaries, people who operate the dispensaries, and had them help us come up with a solution to it.
Now,
I think it's going to happen. Now, the important thing that the state did, and the California, CSAC has really helped us. They said you can have local control. So there's going to be some differences of how you implement this, but you've got so many different things. You've got even health services, you've got environmental land use issues.
Yeah, I have to tell you, walking these halls, everyone's talking about marijuana legalization. I mean, at this convention, it is top of mind.
Right. It could mean a lot of revenue but there's going to be to oversee what the rules of the day are statewide, and then on your local level too. It's going to cost some money to implement that or oversee it.
64 does have some funding for law enforcement to look at the driving questions, impairment, but in terms of overall law enforcement, I don't know that there's extra funds for it.
No.
So you can raise revenue through local taxing of marijuana sales, at least the recreational side, but how do you make sure you don't raise it so much that the black market's more beneficial?
That's a real, I think that having it illegal, I think that the cultivators and those who operate it, they want it legally. They want to know what the level playing field, what it is. And I think that when more of it's available, it is going to, I think the prices are going to go down. I don't think I'm dreaming. I think that's going to happen. But I do, and I think it's going to have an impact, therefore, on the black market.
His name is Bruce McPherson. He is a supervisor in Santa Cruz County. We are at CSAC today in Palm Springs. I'm Brad Pomerance.